Good afternoon, everyone. This is YC from YC Cooks and Bakes. Welcome to my channel. Hope everybody is having a great day. If you're new here, I would like for you to comment, like, and subscribe so that you can get my recipes in the descriptions. But today, what I plan on doing for our supper this evening is to use up some stir-fry sauce from a recipe I had about eight and a half to 9 days ago, and we have to use up the sauce within, it's usually a week or two you're supposed to use the sauce up. And so I knew I had the other part of the sauce in the fridge, and I plan on using the rest of it on a stir fry this evening to go over rice. And this is what's left of the sauce that I made. And I just want to show you, see the white on the bottom? That is the cornstarch that is in the sauce. And so what you want to, because you know when you put it over your veggies and fry it, it thickens like a nice coating of flavor over your food. So all you need to do before using it, obviously, is give it a good shake and see how it starts to, eventually you can see it's already getting milky. You just have to shake it really good. And that way it uses it up, and you can pour it over the food and it'll do its job and thicken up. It just takes a minute or two, but most of it's already used up, see? It just takes a minute or two. But until then, we need to get our meat and our veggies together. And today I'm going to be using, I have about 1.5 pounds, I would say, of black Angus beef. And I always use my kitchen scissors on these because when I buy this meat, they always cut it too big. Like when you're eating a stir fry, you don't want it like a brochette or a shish kebab. You don't want the pieces this big. I mean, this is huge. So I take these big pieces, these big chunks like this, and I cut them smaller for how I would like to have in my stir fry. And now if it was chicken or a flat piece of beef, I would cut in long strips. But because I'm using a chunk, like a kind of a stew beef, because you know I get what's on sale, I just cut the pieces smaller. And we are going to be using peppers, which I've already washed. You can see them in the colander. And maybe a little tiny bit of carrot for color. And I have some white onion, and I have some mushrooms, and some broccoli too. So I'm going to get all this cut up, and then we need to season it. And so I'm going to work on this right now. Okay, everyone, I have the beef cut up in smaller bite-sized pieces, as you can see. And it, you know, once I start sauteing and fry it and everything, it'll break down quicker and become, you know, more tender because I have cut it, and the connective tissues will break down even further, so the meat is not so tough. But you could use kosher salt at this point, but because I'm doing because this is like an Asian dish, I will just go ahead and put some soy sauce for the salt, because that's right in line with our, you know, our stir fry. Okay. That seems like a lot, but it's not. It just sounded like a lot. Okay, and for the amount of meat that I have here, and I'm going to use some cracked black pepper. Okay. and some garlic powder. Okay, and the other thing I wanted to tell you, I have sesame seeds, sometimes I toast, but I like that more with like a honey chicken recipe. And sometimes I use cashews for certain dishes. This one I'm going to be using peanuts that we're going to put in the dish. And that makes it more exciting, you know, and gives it flavor and texture. So you have your garlic and your sodium and your cracked pepper in here. Just give this a quick stir. Okay. And we can set this aside. Okay, I'm just cleaning the peppers. I've already got a couple done. I'm just going to use 3. I just quickly go around the top and then pull the seeds out, because I'm going to slice these up into strips. And I'll get this cleaned out and I'll bring you back. Okay, we have all the peppers cleaned up. Now I'm just going to go ahead and slice them. And the little rib part, I usually take that out. Okay. Just go along it and just remove it. It's real quick, so it comes out. Okay. There we are. Now usually I use, you know, the tri-colored peppers. I call them stoplight peppers. But anyway, you know, the yellow and the red. The stoplight would have green in it also, or the tri-colored would just have the yellow, red, and orange. But I got all green this week at Aldi because pay attention to those prices. I mean, they literally almost tripled the tri-colored pepper prices. So I thought, oh, using green, and I'm not going to complain. It is what it is. Yes, the others are nice and sweet, but I can make this sweet if I want to. Then I'm going to add a splash of carrot for color. And white with the mushrooms. And it's going to be absolutely delicious. And we'll have a different color green with the broccoli. So there's going to be, you know, different colors and different textures, different shapes. And that all makes it look very beautiful and appetizing. So there's the peppers. We'll set that aside. And now for the mushrooms, I'll get a paper towel after I just wipe those off. You want to, oh, that was a pen. You just want to wipe the mushrooms off. Don't soak them in water because it's a fungi. It'll get absorbed with water. It'll bring too much water to your dish, and then your sauce won't work. Anything left on the mushrooms, just gently wipe off with a paper towel. Now, it can be a mildly damp paper towel, but you don't want to immerse them in water because a lot of dishes are ruined by people putting the mushrooms down in the shiitake or the portobello down in water. You don't really want to do that. You want to wipe them off gently. At least my experience. If I'm wrong, but I know what works for me, and I also know what hasn't worked for me. Okay. There we go. Let me give these a quick rinse. And throw out these little membranes from the peppers. And be back. Okay, we're back. And I'm just going to take the carrots and splice them long ways to add that splash of color. And I want them really thin because carrot can be, quite hard. And you want it, even though you want it to remain nice and crisp, you don't want them soggy, but you also want them to be, cooked at the same rate as the other food also. So I think I'll go ahead and put these in here. Get the container like that. Okay. And I'm just going to keep going long ways with them. And I know you can buy them like this, but I didn't buy them like that. I buy them like this, or I buy the really long carrots because I do so many different things with them. I use them in pot pies and, all kinds of dishes. So I never know what I'm going to do with them. See, and that is why I don't use a great big cleaver. I use this little tiny knife because I cut myself if I use a great big knife. Now, if I'm careful and take my time, I don't. But I'd rather just use this. It's what I'm comfortable with. For those of you who don't know, I was doing a video last night, and I made a quiche. It was like my jalapeno spicy cheeseburger quiche. Really great recipe, really, really good. But I used the other camera that has, my theme song on it. You've seen those videos. And for some reason, even though the batteries were charged and everything, and the camera was set up and it had been previously charged and everything, it stopped halfway through it. We don't know why. Nobody was on the other side of the camera. We don't know why, but it didn't turn out. So I just wanted to tell you, I didn't forget about you last night. It's just the video didn't come out. So it is what it is, right? Maybe some other time I can show it to you. I will say that the recipe needed something to stand out, whether it be like a relish or some kind of pickle or olive. And I didn't have that in it, and I wished I would have. I needed more acid in it, something to bring like a vinegar touch to it. So it was not really a keeper recipe anyway. But I'll tell you what did taste good in it, and that was the diced jalapenos I had. Oh, it's fantastic. Okay, so for the dish I'm doing tonight, this orange carrot is going to add the color, shape, and texture that I need to go with the beef, peppers, and broccoli. And now I'm going to do the mushrooms. But I'm going to have this white onion too, because I don't know if you know, at Aldi, the yellow onions also doubled in price. So I thought I would get these because they were still a batch that was from regular price, but the red onions, the purple ones, they went up sky high. So I didn't want to choose that. So I went with the white onion, and I think I got one of the last bags. The other thing I'm going to do is take these peanuts with sea salt. You've seen them. I know some of y'all have purchased them. And take some, put it in a baggie, and pound it with like a meat mallet, and crush them just a little tiny bit, and throw that in our food towards the end of the stir fry. And then I'm going to put all this over rice. And so let me go ahead and work on some of this, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, don't forget to cook your rice ahead of time. While you're fixing everything else, your rice could be going, because it's gonna only take 20 minutes to cook. So I'll get this measured out, and I'll bring you back. Okay, the rice is going now, and I did measure. I put about 2/3 cup of peanuts in here, and instead of having this on the counter, I'm gonna hang on to it like this with my arm, so that I can hit it on here. Because if you have someone in the house that's resting or sleeping or something, you don't want to make a whole pile of noise, but you want to be able to chop these up reasonably, Or you could just take it outside. But anyway. And they don't all need to be mashed, just broken up a little bit, There, that's it. And you can see how some of them are broke up a bit now. And that's all it takes. And that will be the last thing that goes in. So I'll meet you at the stove. Okay, while you're waiting on your oil to heat up, you can take that and keep shaking it. You see how the white is gone out of the bottom now? It all broke up just from, you shake it every now and then. And let's check our oil here. Okay, it looks to be hot enough. So I could turn it down just a smidgen. And let's see here. Go ahead and put in the meat. You can already tell it's already starting to cook, which, as it should. Your pan should be hot enough to where it's doing that. And I'll flip it forward so you can see. See? Okay. And I'll get this meat cooked. Okay, so the first thing that wants to happen to your beef is all the juices will start to pour out of it. But once the juice, so all the water and fluid is gone, and you started seeing the brownness on the meat and sticking to the bottom of the pot, that's when you know it's time to start putting in your veggies. And we can put in our onion. I'm going to put everything in, except I'm going to hold off on the mushrooms a little bit. It's not about cooking everything to death. It's about cooking it to where it's tender but has that crispiness to it still. It's cooked but still crisp. That way you don't, cook away all your vitamins and all your nutrients. So we're just holding off on that. We'll put the broccoli and the mushrooms in last. I'll tilt you forward so you can see what I'm doing. See the carrots in there, and the peppers, and the onions, and the beef. Oh, smells fantastic. I'll bring you back. Okay, I'm satisfied that everything is cooking really well. I'll show you. I can get it closer to you so you can see. See how beautiful it is? So I am going to add the stir fry sauce at this time, and I will bring you back for the final product and plate it. Okay, we completed another great stir fry with the sauce that we made about 8 days ago. And I'm proud that we were able to use it all up. You don't want to let it sit in the fridge and go bad because it tastes really good. And I will bring you forward so you can see our plate. And you can see how beautiful it is. You can see there's, I don't know if you can tell by the color, but there's carrots in there and peppers and broccoli and the mushrooms and onion. And there's, I don't know if you can tell, but there's, you see a little peanut right there. There's nuts in here. And this is served over rice, which was done within 2 minutes of, it was only done like a couple minutes. It completed before we were done the other part. They're usually around the same timing, so it works out perfect. So again, go back, get that stir fry sauce out of the description 8 days ago, and you can have two great dinners like this one and the one I showed you that night. And this is what we're having for supper tonight. I'm so glad you could join me, and please comment, like, and subscribe, and have a great night. Bye-bye.